So the subject of today is Krishna consciousness, the ultimate reality. This is always up to date and it's always important to hear about, because the term reality is always presented as something very relative. Everybody is supposed to have his own reality. We are free people. We can define our reality as we want. However, when we look at our life, from the first moment we are born, we get designated. We have names, we have numbers, right away there at the birth. I don't know if they do it in Sweden. In other countries, they put a number
immediately
on the big toes of the child. I heard in some other countries they are saving paper. They are just walking and they paint the number on the bottom of the feet. You know, we just get designated. Sometimes they switch the numbers, by the way, too. So you got the wrong child. But anyway, that's already showing that there can be a problem. And then we are designated. We have a name, we have a birth certificate, we are born in a particular country, we are designated to be a boy or girl. Today something in between, I don't know what it is, I'm not going to talk about this. But the designation goes with us all the time. Parents come and say, you are my son, you are my daughter. And we go, oh yeah, this is our parents and this is my thing. I belong to this family. I belong to this nation. I belong to this town. Actually, it's amazing. Prabhupada gives example. Even the first man in space, Mr. Gagarin, was flying around the globe. And actually, he said this. This is really a quote. He said, I'm looking at the whole planet. It was the first time a man could see the whole planet. But where is my Moscow? He was looking for the Moscow because he was Russian. He was Russian and he looked for Moscow, my place, the capital town, on the whole globe. So this is described all in our scriptures, that the attachment to the place we are born is very strong. Yeah, we know, we grew up with that. And then we have our genetical heritage. Yes, the bodies are defined and we look similar, like sometimes like the father, like the mother, sometimes like the grandfather, like the mother. And amazingly, we get even diseases pre-programmed, coming up, built into the body already. Like Srila Prabhupada, he left the body because a failure of functioning kidneys. But he said, my father left the same way. Same problem. It's already pre-programmed. So there are so many programs running and so many designations. Here in the West, they don't feel it that strong. In India, it's very strong. The family ties are still very strong. You know, in Russia, I notice also very strong family ties. There are still, you know, when the mother is sick, devotees even are leaving and they are going to the place, assisting her or something like that. So that's natural, yeah. However, from Krishna conscious point of view, this doesn't define really reality. Because we got this message right away from the beginning, we are not this body. And all these designations, they actually relate to the body. Now it's difficult to explain this to the child. This is one of the problems Grihastha devotees face. You cannot say, be quiet, you are not this body. Well, they will go, yeah, well, yeah, it's nice information, but I'm hungry. Or I want a lollipop. And this is just, you know, basically animalistic platform, but it's not an insult, this is just what it is. if you get a small monkey and you get a small child, it's very similar. You know, they like to make nonsense, you know, and they just want to play. Small children, they have their own perception of reality. It's amazing how the perception of reality is switching from one period to the other. There are generation problems, even amongst devotees. Like, yeah, I have a, anyway, I don't want to be autobiographic, but I have a very specific problem. I should be now more looking for the association of older people and my age, you know, yeah. I just made a school program in Lund, and it was actually quite amazing. It was a lady from India, she was teaching there, she came, and she had only one question. And after the small presentation I gave, how old are you? You know, and and I said, well, I'm 70 years old. She just flipped out. She just, because somehow she couldn't identify that 70 years old man can behave like this. Because I myself, I don't know it. I'm not, you know, since 50 years I'm chanting Hare Krishna and trying to remember, I'm not this body. But being a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he was the best example. How to be completely incompatible with the age of his body. You know, yeah. Actually in India you find people, I found when I came first time to India, I find really amazing. Obviously very old people. Some people live very long in India. They are very strong. They grew up in the villages, used to austerities, very strong people. And they look at you with like a child. You look in the eyes of that person, you go, whoa! You know, like a child. Very innocent, actually very, you know. Oh boy, I don't want to go more in details, but I remember very well the first chanting we did, 1978. I found myself being at Govardhan with a group of devotees chanting Hare Krishna. We used to go around and chant Hare Krishna. People were shocked at that time. They never saw a white man looking like this. So they were completely, we were like aliens to them. You know, nowadays Indians are used to this, yeah, ISKCON, yeah. But those days, seeing a white man walking like this and chanting Hare Krishna was absolutely shocking for Indians. They were falling into the dust, paying obeisances to us. It was so embarrassing. I was in Krishna consciousness by that time, 78, yeah, I was 5-6 years in Krishna consciousness. These people spend their whole life in Krishna consciousness. Their grandfather was already chanting, and they were bowing down to me. It was so embarrassing. So, but people were shocked. But I remember that very shocking scene when we came into a small village at Varshana. That's where Radharani was growing up, you know. And it was a very small, simple village, like bamboo huts and very small buildings, very simple. And all the villagers came out, and they were looking, wow. I was by that time, maybe 22 years old. I just remember, we were all the same age. We were chanting, and all the village girls came, you know. This Indian village girls, maybe 15 years old, 14 years old, 16 years old maximum. And they all came and looking, because they never saw a white man dancing and chanting like that. Now there was a really big problem. They were all very beautiful. And I remember how we, the celibacy monks, you know, brahmachari, were chanting. And I remember how the beat of the kirtan went out of control more and more. Everybody was like, we never saw anything like this. In the West, women are different. They are like you know, more in a defensive mood. But these girls were so innocent. They were so pure. They just came looking, and they were looking at us. very curiously. And we were completely, this was getting completely out of control. Finally, the leader, there was a bit more experienced devotee, he just changed the mantra, prayers to Lord Nishingadev, and then departed from the village very fast, just to keep us somehow together. We were, again, one way or another, it's all temporary. These girls we saw those days, well, if they are still alive, then they are old Indian women. And I am not the 22 years old boy either. The body is changing. But every stage we are in, we have a particular idea of reality. It's amazing. Like the children, I remember that. I remember the perception of a child. Somehow, I don't know, people think sometimes I'm crazy, but I remember what kind of nappies I had. I remember what kind of children was. I remember myself starting walking, yeah. I remember that. I remember scenes, pictures from that. I remember my mother, I remember my father, The memory is there, but the Buddha is gone. Yeah, now no more nappies, no more walking, learning, and no more this innocence of for me, every day was a discovery day, was new. Now I come to Malmö, I tell you, it's not much new here for me. I go, okay, it's the old Malmö. Oh yeah, it's getting springtime. But I saw already 70 springtimes in this lifetime. So it's not that new, It's springtime, yeah, it's amazing. I feel the energy, everything is sprouting and flowering. Great. Yeah, but I saw this one before, and I already know very well the autumn is coming. And the winter is coming. So it's coming up and it's coming down. It's coming up and it's coming down. So you get kind of a little bit overview over this temporality of these designations. But amazingly, everybody, every stage of the body, we have our own perception of reality. Like the children, they are basically interested only in children, really. They go, there's another child, that's interesting. The grown-up people, what are they doing actually? We don't know. They are working, they are doing something. They're not funny. We have to have fun as children, After a while, you become a teenager. Things get serious, Then you realize there's boys, there's girls. It's a problem. The boys start to get interested in the girls, but the girls don't really always understand what the boys want. And the boys definitely don't understand what the girls want. Definitely not. They're stupid. And actually it's amazing at a certain age how the development is different. My daughter was dealing with social issues when she was 4.5 years old. She was interested what the girls are talking and what are they doing here and how we are like this. Boys are just running around and kicking some ball, that's all, So the girls think, what stupid boys. Problem is that my daughter is 25 years old, but she still thinks like that. It's like boys of 20 years, it's just, what is this? That's the problem. Again, another perception of reality. With not the designations coming. Everybody who is in a bodily consciousness is motivating his life along the designations. I am this, I'm a woman, you don't understand. Well, I'm a man, you don't understand. It's always the same problem, the same discussion. When will finally men understand women? When will finally women understand men? I tell you one big news, never happening. It's not going to happen. Yeah, when women are in love, which is some kind of intoxication, that's like kind of a drug. They say, oh, finally, I thought a man who really understands me. Nah, He doesn't. No. It's very different. So Vedic culture is oriented on reality. First of all, we are not this body. Then we have the body. That's always a problem. Devotees struggle with this. We are not this body, but the body is here. What shall we do with that? Huh? And very often I see it amongst devotees, it's a big problem. They don't like their bodies. They really hate the bodies. Even women. In Krishna consciousness, sometimes they sing, it's against this woman body, you know. And the man also. So he assigns himself to a type of, it's called tyaga, renunciation. I'm not this body, get rid of it. Negation. Yeah? This is not our path. This has nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. You know? So many devotees come this way. They really are disgusted with their body. And they think, oh, we are not this body. That's a great news. So now, get rid of the body. No. Srila Prabhupada showed us, no, the body is very valuable. Without the body, we couldn't even sit here and we couldn't even talk. We couldn't listen, we couldn't have association, not possible. You know, we would be ghosts. Just I'm speaking about the physical body. So that's not possible. So obviously it has a meaning. Obviously it is valuable. And obviously it's going to act this way. So in Krishna consciousness, when we really start to understand this meaning of ultimate reality, it is composed from these two elements. That we are not this body, we are spiritual soul. And simultaneously, as we realize we are not this body, then we finally realize what kind of body we are not. It's like, I give you a very gross example. Let's say you were born in a car, but you never came out of the car. You were living locked up in the car. So when somebody tells you, oh, you are locked up in a Volkswagen car, you think, what do you mean Volkswagen? This is my home. I am in the car. Because you never went out of the car and could never see even what kind of car you got. And Vedic culture means there are different kind of cars. This body is like a car. But there are different brands. And there are different, very different things, essentially categorized by Krishna himself in a more intellectually dominated car, in a more structure, organizational and protection organizing car, in a more let's get a better petrol, how can we make more profit with the car, you know. And then it's just simple cars. They just want to fill up the petrol and drive. And they are very happy. You know. So that's called Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Sudra. That's where Varnashram Dharma. Society is based on that understanding. Not only that we are not this body, that's ultimately the goal, to understand, but what kind of body we are not. So this is the real reality. It is encompassing both elements. There's no negation. You know, everybody has an important part to play. And everybody is important. But provided he understands what kind of car he is driving. And that should come naturally. You know, when we understand more and more we are not this body, so naturally we also understand what kind of body we are not. And therefore, we can make a shortcut. This is not a question of analytical studies. We can make a shortcut. We accept a spiritual guidance. And ideally, spiritual guide, spiritual master, teacher, should be expert enough to guide the disciple along the nature of his body. You know? So he will not preach to a woman like to a man. He will not preach even to even women. There's a difference. They are simple women. You know, they just want to have food on the table. They just want to have babies, you know, and some husband who is working hard. That's good. That's already good. Some women are very complicated. And I don't want to get into astrology and all this, which is defining this kind of thing. I'm speaking about bona fide astrology, not the concoction sometimes you get in the name of astrology. But Srila Prabhupada ultimately made it simple. He said, astrology, not astrology, it depends if we are devotees. When you devote yourself to Krishna, from a devotee is expected, he understands he is not his body, and automatically he becomes tolerant. Yeah, it's just the body doing something. Yeah. He understands how the material nature works. Material nature is influencing us. Pinching. Prabhupada said it's a pinching method. Somebody is pinching you all the time. Now somebody may say, why are you acting like this? Well, the honest answer is, I don't know. Somebody is pinching me. Some pushing. Somebody is pushing. Whereby a fool, he will never understand. He said, no, you are pushing. No, he's already pushed. This is the trickery on this illusion we are living in. One is pushing the other, but nobody actually deals with the original push. Where is the original push coming from? From the material nature. And where is the material nature coming from? You know, from Krishna, of course. When we understand the source of the whole thing, the origin of the problem, then we become more tolerant. Yeah, somebody is agitated. But it's changing all the time. Any married man can tell you, I hear the stories in so many years. When I come in association of men, usually they sooner or later complain about women. And when I come in association of women, usually sooner or later they complain about men. But not in an aggressive or malicious way, you know. They just share the misery. And this is also Vedic culture. In a Vedic culture, men and women were not mixing very much. It was not really that close mix. They were cooperating. Everybody had his role. Like when you look at the life of Srila Prabhupada, as a married man, most of his life he was a married man. He was traveling, making business, supplying for the family, arranging things. But like example, when it comes to babies, in a Vedic culture, men were not dealing with that in this way. You know, they didn't have to. It was not like it's forbidden. No, not like this. But they didn't have to. There were a whole army of grandmothers and aunties and relatives who gladly took over. To the men, they were just working. The babies became interesting for them, really, when they became, 7 years old, 8 years old. That's already where you can talk, really. That's natural. That's the man's story, okay? Women, they are perfectly equipped with, with this feeding and packaging and repackaging and this and that. And that's the reason why girls get puppets. Why do they have puppets? Because they need this. The instinct is already there. The man, you give him a puppet, he will just do something crazy. Probably he will break it. So boys want to, you see, they want to more do things and turn things and break things and dismantle things and push things. And this is natural. This is all pre-programmed. Now, what is this to do with Krishna consciousness? A lot. Because if we don't understand that we are not this body and what kind of body we are operating, we get disturbed. And this society is in a total chaos, because not only that people think, I am this body, they don't even know anymore what kind of body they are. They are confused. They don't even know. It's like, it's really confusing. You get a strange car, and the first time you drive a car, you never drove this before, especially today. Now, I don't want to get again to autobiographic, but I am actually a car driver by profession to some degree. To some degree. Not full time. You know, you cannot imagine what kind of cars I get in my hands. Yeah. First time I was sitting in the latest Mercedes, I was going, where's the key? Because we are used to put a key, to turn the key and you start the car. There's no key. It's button. And then it's all digital and all and I'm coming from times where everything was, pushing buttons, and everybody was needles you could see. Now it's just plunk, numbers coming up, plunk, plunk. You feel like you are sitting in a big TV studio, it's just screens everywhere. What's going on? If somebody gives me a mobile phone, 90% of this machine I have no idea about. When I give it to my daughter, she goes, what are you talking about? Because she knows. I don't know. Whenever I have a problem, I go to my daughter or to some young people and go, I have a problem here. Yeah? So this is how temporary and how illusory the environment is around us. So how can we orient ourselves with this? This is Krishna consciousness, the ultimate reality. When we start to see everything connected to Krishna, suddenly things start to make sense. Yeah, because we know not only that who arranged the whole thing, but we know also why he arranged that. Everything has a purpose. Krishna is not whimsical. It's like, just imagine God would really be whimsical. He would go, well, yesterday I made some laws here, but today I will change it. Like we have one very elementary law, which we all derive benefit from right now here, and we struggle with it too. It's called gravity. Everything you throw up, it will come down. Where is this power coming from? We sit here now very heavily because of gravity. Now just imagine Krishna would say, I don't like this gravity. Tomorrow, let's make it all light and flying. There will be total chaos. Things will be just, everything start to flow. No, Krishna is very responsible. He is establishing things, and there are precise laws which we cannot avoid. Krishna says, whoever is born, he will die. That's the law. You cannot avoid it. Nobody can say, I don't want to die. No, not me. Him, it's okay, but not me. No. It's all coming to everybody of us. Even these little ones running around, they will die. Sorry, but they will. It's just a question of time. So this is laws. If we understand all this, we become tolerant. We know, okay. Yeah, I was also in that kind of body. Now I am in this body. Now things will change. But what is the real meaning of life? Krishna says clearly in the Bhagavad Gita, those who strive for Krishna consciousness, they are more interested in permanent things, not in things which are changing all the time. This whole society is based on changing. They think this is progress. Everything has to change. You change everything. Like to me, it's very disturbing. Something which I saw previously to function completely okay. But they change it. And usually they change it for the worse. They make things more complicated. More. It's a beautiful story to it. Can you imagine Srila Prabhupada was spreading this Hare Krishna movement and this philosophy all over the world? No internet, no mobile phone. Can you imagine to do that? Srila Prabhupada explains once, at that time, by that time, that was towards the end of his presence here, he was sitting in Vrindavan in India, and devotees were going, well, now the ISKCON is all over the world. You are the leader of the worldwide ISKCON. At least you must have a phone. There is no phone in your room. And in India, I tell you, those days to get a phone, not easy. Not easy. To get a phone line installed in your room, very difficult. That's 1976, 75, very difficult. So, you know, so finally after big struggle, they arranged a telephone coming into Prabhupada's room. They pull a line, Prabhupada's own telephone. Hello. And Prabhupada saw this telephone standing there. 2 o'clock in the morning, the phone was ringing. Prabhupada woke up, picked up the phone. There was a devotee on it from America. Because in America it wasn't 2 o'clock. They had a different time. And that fool didn't understand when he calls Prabhupada, he got some more than the number. There is a time change. In India there are 4.5 hours, 5 hours, somewhere else. And then Prabhupada picked up the phone going, hello. And the devotee is going, Prabhupada, how are you? Prabhupada said, good. Put down the phone and went to sleep again. A few hours later he called his servant. He said, you take this phone out. And that was the end of the phone. Today we can hardly imagine that, But he spread the whole Hare Krishna movement around the world. How? By traveling. It killed him. He could have lived maybe longer. Whoever is traveling, especially if you travel so intensely like Prabhupada, you realize this will take a toll on your body. Change of time, change of climate, change of diet, constantly. The body starts to revolt. Prabhupada was going on and on and on and on, traveling 10 times around the globe, all the time from one place to the other. Even when he was practically dead, that was the last time I saw him, he came to England traveling. No doctor could understand this. Nobody. This man is dead almost. And he gets on an airplane and flies to England from India. How is he doing that? Prabhupada he said, I want to die on a battlefield. Talking. I have to give personal association. Because whatever we have, and this is supposedly, I think, also recorded now on internet, it can never replace personal association. I mean, seeing you somewhere on internet is a completely different thing than when you are sitting here. Because there is more to it, to a person, than just the image, on internet. You can get some information, you can hear the person, you can get some idea, but it's already twisted, there's something in between. But then you associate personally like that. Internet can cheat you completely. You can get a completely wrong impression. Can you imagine? People meet each other, they fall in love, and they get married on the internet. Well, no wonder they get shocked after that. Who was that? My God, on the internet, this person looks so good, but I realized, what an idiot. Because, it's another illusion, another designation is there. But we are using it just to transfer the information. But otherwise, it's not defining the reality. So Krishna consciousness, what is the ultimate reality? It is so wonderful, the more and more you progress in Krishna consciousness, the more and more you realize what reality is. But there's a price to it. The reality is always not very pleasant, not according to our expectations. Well, let people experience anytime anyway, but people like to be cheated. They like to dream themselves away. I'm coming from a 60s, previous century. The hippie movement, this Hare Krishna movement flourished amongst the hippies. It was even designated as hippie movement. No, it's not. But the hippies were very open. something new, something, and dancing together. That was hippies did already, dancing together. That was very popular amongst hippies. And then you realized this is not according to nation, designation, race, color of the skin, not important in Krishna, because we are not this body. So hippies like that, because that was the idea also. We are all one and the same, brothers and sisters. Well, that was one problem. They had no Krishna consciousness. And that means hippie movement was based on drugs and illicit sex life. These two things.
And rock and roll.
Vegetarianism was no problem. Many hippies were naturally vegetarians because they were loving. They realized, I'm not going to kill some animal to eat it. No. So there was macrobiotic diets, and this was flying already in the hippie world. Then there was other principle we follow: no gambling, no problem. Really, hippies had no money. Gamble with what? No problem. But sex life and intoxication, that was not so easy to give up. Intoxication was everywhere. But it was not like today, where intoxication is perceived as something you escape, you just forget, you go off. No. It was initially perceived as an inquiry in another type of consciousness. Everybody was kind of searching, moving. And they were thinking, wow, look, LSD, up, and then they saw, whoa, it could be seen in a different way, So that's actually where the impulse came from, the drug consumption, but very little was considered. It's addictive. And it leads you completely in another, it destroys your mental, subtle body. Like LSD damages, which I saw, I never took that stuff. I was lucky. I never took drugs in my life. I was scared. Not because I was so pure, but I was scared. I was going, and all people around me were taking something. Not because they were junkies and they were addicted or whatever, but everybody tried something. Even the postman would try some LSD, wow. That was the mood of the 60s. Let's try it out. So I was scared. I said, I want to have a control. I can try something out, but in a controlled way. But this is out of control. You take some substance and then it will completely change your consciousness. Who knows if your consciousness comes back to the state you came from? And I tell you, like LSD is a substance, it's lifelong damaging. I still have godbrothers who actually will confirm that, if they are honest, that I still feel sometimes the LSD in my body. Yeah. I don't want to go now into the anti-LSD and describe you the effects of that, but it's obvious. You get hypermental, I remember a very wonderful godbrother, when I was going on the street with him chanting in a town, he said sometimes when I chant, the tops of the churches, the crosses, they are still sparking like there's fire coming out. That's LSD, still working. Anyway, so, and some of my godbrothers, they took lots of this stuff. For them it was like daily bread. Then comes illicit sex life. Well, that was normal, yeah. Let's be happy. Love. Really. Well, the first one who realized it's not that much of a love was the women. They realized these loving boys are simply using us up. They are using us. They are abusing us, actually, which gave a root to the feminism which came up. This is a revenge, So this all we see today, this is actually all coming from action and reaction. So much for the love and peace. No. The result was agitation and more agitation. That comes from illicit sex life and it comes from drugs. You know, I don't want to go no more in details, but somebody say, well, then no sex life. Prabhupada said, no. We don't advocate no sex life. Not at all. If there would be no sex life, these babies wouldn't crawl around here. Sorry. That's reality. You know, that's what the whole thing is about. Not to have some fun. Ah, really? I don't want to go into the list of the results of that fun. It's catastrophic. It starts from unwanted, illicit children coming up. Who's going to pay for that? The women suffer for that. The men go, ha, bye-bye. You know, that's big problem. Huge problem. Then comes the sexual diseases. Oh, many different. And then comes one thing after another. So many problems. People ask us, why do you follow these principles? Actually, the simple answer is to avoid problems, that's all. You know, I'm too lazy to have this kind of problems, sorry. Even as a teenager, I was scared of girls, yeah. But not because I didn't like them. No, I like girls. But I knew that's a problem. It can be a big problem. So I was scared of the problem coming behind. You know, scared of the fact that I will probably never come up to the expectation of that girl. And on top of that, it always aimed like for the babies, for the family. You know, and that was a concept which was so abstract to me as a teenager, I couldn't relate to it whatsoever. Actually, as a matter of fact, I couldn't even understand why people make babies. I was thinking, into this world? Into this rotten, disgusting world? And you make more babies? This is unbelievable. Now, this is material thinking. This is was based on my own frustration. In Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada was very heavily advocating that. He said, no, we are not against sex life. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I am sex life. But only, the one for the babies. Sorry. That's me. That's the bona fide, dignified, and even sanctified sex life. So much for that. Prabhupada didn't hesitate to give public lectures on this. If you want to hear, there is a lecture of Ratha Yatra festival in South America, where Prabhupada sits down, thousands of people assembled, procession of Lord Jagannath, and Prabhupada would expect everybody, he gives a lecture about Lord Jagannath. And he started to explain, and then somebody is screaming in a crowd like mad. You can hear it. So Prabhupada stopped the lecture and asked his servant, what does he want? And then the servant goes, well, Prabhupada, he's agitated. He thinks we are forbidding sex life. And Prabhupada goes, no. And then in front of these thousands of people, he gives a quite detailed lecture how to have sex life in Krishna consciousness. It's amazing. You know. So we are not against that. It's just we are against the misery that behind the whole thing. And the abusive part. That's sinful. There's a reaction for that. And the reaction we see today, this society is full of reactions which are not at all pleasant. They are horrible. So only thing we tried in Krishna consciousness, that's the ultimate reality. We try to avoid problems. And these problems come from a false identification. And false identification leads to false expectation. We always hope. They call it positive thinking. Prabhupada had a good comment on that. When somebody came with this positive thinking illusion, this is not a new idea, this was always there. To be positive. You know, in Sweden there was a sticker they had on a Volvo, I remember, there was a time, everybody had a sticker on a car. We try harder. Like, you know, let's go on, try harder, less positive, you know. Prabhupada gives a beautiful story to that. He said, I had a friend, not a friend, it was a man known to me who was very rich. and he had a big household with servants. And on a certain point, he was probably drunk or whatever. You know, it was a known story. He got outraged, and he actually killed his servant. You know, so he went to jail, and he was, because he killed somebody, he was sentenced to death. But because he was a rich man, he got the best lawyer he could. And the lawyer, Prabhupada said, I knew that lawyer. That lawyer told him, don't worry. I will get you out of this. Don't worry. So the man was in jail all the time, waiting until the lawyer gets him out of this. But the lawyer said, be positive. You have to have positive thinking, you know, I will get you out of it. Up to the date where the man was hanged, actually. And just before he was hanged, the lawyer was still going, don't worry, I will get you out of it. And then he was hanged. Prabhupada calls it, be happily hanged. That was Prabhupada's conclusion. Be positive. And then you are hanged. So, you know, there's slogans like this, age is just a number. You know, there's an article in Sweden, sex life get better after 60. You know, it's just positive thinking. No. If you are interested, I just wrote an article on my webpage, how beautiful it is to grow old in Krishna consciousness. It's really beautiful. You know why? Because things become real. You tell to a young person, you will die. He will go, maybe you, not me. You know. Yeah, when you speak to older person, they start to listen. One of my godbrothers, he said, for 40 years, I was preaching to everybody, we are all going to die. But now I start to understand that. Because you can say many things, but, you know. So when you get older, it all comes together. The death is around the corner. The disease is already here, or just in front of the door. You know, the body is falling apart, it's very obvious. There is no hope for material enjoyment, really, even you may try hard. No hope. No positive thinking. Finished. So for a Krishna conscious person, this is actually very invigorating. They go, now I have the proof I should become more Krishna conscious. And when you chant Hare Krishna and come to the ultimate reality of Krishna consciousness, these things are only enhancing your Krishna consciousness. Therefore this word of depression, it's not existing for you. Depression of what? Depression what? Why should I be depressed? About what? That this world is falling apart, my body is falling apart, we are all going to die. Well, we heard it all the time. It's in Prabhupada's books. You know, I am not beautiful anymore. I don't want to go in detail, but it's sometimes really pathetic how ladies try to be beautiful under any cost of some beautiful, what they told them beautiful even is. They don't even know what beauty is. They just read it in some magazine. And they go, I have to be like that and like this and like this. And then they try desperately to be beautiful. But actually, yes, we can sometimes say, this woman is beautiful. But there's one problem. She's incredibly stupid. And stupidity, I tell you, makes people very ugly. Stupidity, arrogance, and all this. This makes everybody very ugly. You can look materially very beautiful, but when you are puffed up, arrogant, and stupid, you are quite ugly. You know. So, this again, how beautiful was Prabhupada? And he was an old man. He was the oldest of them all. I just heard it recently, not so long time ago. Prabhupada had even a problem. Girls were falling in love with him. He was in the age of the grandfather, and they were like falling in love with him. Because he was so beautiful, he was so charming, he was so pure, he was all what you wanted to see. He emanated shelter. which is very important element of a female perception. You know, he emanated stability. He emanated so many wonderful things. And above all, he emanated joy. You know, yeah. Well, you don't get very joyful when you go in an old age home, really. You know, I think all the young people, they should have visits. I would make it part of the school education. Visit slaughterhouse, visit old age home, visit the graveyard. Get a real picture, because this is, you know, what's coming to you. So, but people don't like to see it. No, it's all covered up. You know, yeah. Like, I remember in Sweden, there was always the svensk köttbullar. You know, there was always advertisement of a happy mama feeding happy children with happy meatbollar. What more illusion you want? If that child would really investigate where that meatball comes from, they will be horrified. They will cry. They will never touch such a thing. But it's all covered up. It's all under illusion. You know, everybody who thinks I'm this body is all covered up and under illusion. Because we don't see the real person. People go, I love you. Well, who is you? Nobody asks this question, right? I love you. Really? Then who is me? Tell me, who am I? Otherwise, how can you love me if you don't know even who I am? This is Krishna conscious thinking. This is consequent. And people don't like us for this, because we are consequent. Even in Krishna consciousness, we may look like a devotee. I am always, sorry, I'm a little bit embarrassed when I'm advertised like, here comes the Prabhupada disciple. You know? You know what I think? I hope so. I seriously hope so. Because as Prabhupada disciple, I should act like a Prabhupada disciple. Now people would expect that, right? So that's a kind of obligation I have here. I cannot say anything what Prabhupada would not confirm. I cannot do anything Prabhupada wouldn't like. And even we know how tolerant Prabhupada was to stupidity. You know, he had to be tolerant. I mean, it's like children, you know, we are tolerant. They do foolish things. You know, what can you do? They have to grow up. Yeah. So Prabhupada was tolerant, but he was not tolerant to purposeful misinterpretation of Krishna consciousness. There was no, his mercy came in another way. There was just a sharp cut, even to his own disciples. If somebody was going, this is new Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada was right away there. But if somebody said, Prabhupada, you know, what I did something horrible. Was the disciples, celibacy monks coming to Prabhupada, going, Prabhupada, I fell in love. And Prabhupada was laughing, going, falling in love, falling in lust, yeah, it happens. Young man, what can you do? Don't worry, we'll get you married. Don't worry. So here a solution for this immediately. No, it's okay, you know, it's like weakness, it doesn't happen. Young people, it just happens, it's chemistry. You know, it's very powerful chemistry. If you ask even the young people, why are you falling in love here all the time? They will not give you any rational answer. They will go, I love her. You know, yeah, great. Do you know her? I mean, I had a godbrothers even happen to them. It's hopeless to talk to them, I tell you. It's completely hopeless. When somebody is in love, it's hopeless to talk to him or to her. It just happens. It's chemistry. So Prabhupada was tolerant. Yeah. Regulate. First regulate. There's another aspect of ultimate reality in Krishna consciousness. If we cannot stop certain type of behavior and consciousness, we regulate it. First you regulate, and then you purify. You purify. You know, means, this is the powerful process of Krishna consciousness. You change the motivation of that person. You can change. You can change taste. You can change type of thinking. Like I didn't grow up as a vegetarian, yeah. But it became very quickly unthinkable for me to eat any kind of non-vegetarian item. Because there was prasadam. There was immediately purified version, which was much better. Yeah. It wasn't difficult actually. Prabhupada gave us such a wonderful alternatives to everything. To eating, to sleeping, to sex life, and protection. This is the demands coming from the body. Prabhupada had alternative for that. Yes. He expected devotees protecting each other. He expected us to change the taste. Don't eat this rubbish, eat this, prasadam. He expected us to become a regulated family man. Prabhupada was going, well, they're always chasing women, this man. It's the same thing, Basically, you find the same thing. Even we mentioned before, there are different women, but that you discover in Krishna consciousness. In a material sense, the rules of the games are very simple. From man's point of view, very simple. Where's the next sex? Okay. And it's a very chemical and very simple impulse. It's like itching. Bhagavatam gives the example. Something is itching, I scratch. No, now it's not itching. The problem is that the itching comes back. So I scratch again. And sometimes, this, when mosquito is biting, it becomes more itching. And you scratch more, and you itch more, and you scratch more until it becomes a bloody mess. This is the process of sanskritification. Therefore, Krishna says clearly in the Bhagavad Gita, the senses can never be satisfied. They always want more, more, more. But with purified senses, you become more satisfied. Yeah. I always appreciate, like devoted family men. You know why? Because they all have their up and downs. They have their challenges. And they know. Yeah. If I try something else, it could be much worse. And I saw even devotees trying something else, getting divorced. Yeah. We don't have divorce, but it can happen. So they go, no, it's enough of this. Not one. This is going to be better. This one is going to be better. Very often, it's much worse. I know one devotee who finally came to understand after 3 wives, it's enough. I have enough of this. Because it's the same thing coming back. You cannot change your destiny. You cannot change your karma like this. No, you can make it only worse. But when you chant Hare Krishna and tolerate, leave it up to Krishna, then things will happen. Amazing things can happen, actually. Sometimes you think, this person, when you speak about marriage, generally in Krishna consciousness, devotees don't get married because they fall in love. There's liking, definitely. There must be a liking, You cannot force somebody to get married against his will, really. No. But by superior intelligence, you can understand, probably okay. You do the maximum precautions not to make some really stupid mistake, But you still know some things will evolve. It's not going to be like this forever. Things will change. The question is, what is a really uniting principle? That's Krishna consciousness. Outside of that, everything will change. There's in Denmark a joke. I learned a joke in Denmark. The boy thinks, oh, this girl is so beautiful. Look at the thin waist. And look at the color of her hair. Look at these beautiful eyes. I love her. I wish she will never change. And the girl, they are more realistic. They go, yeah, this boy is a little bit stupid, but he's quite okay. By my mystic power, I will shape him. I will change him. You know, yeah. I will change the man. The result? She will change. And he will not change. That's ultimately the reality coming out. And then I sit there going, oh, he's the same fool. And he goes, oh no, now she's old and shrunk. You know, what a stupid show. What a waste of time. We don't waste time like this in Krishna consciousness. We already know this is going to happen. So why to expect these false expectations? The real thing is Krishna consciousness. And there you find a platform. You can have a very nice and very loving association. Without this itch and without this exploitation business. How much you give me? I can give, but let's see how much you give. Therefore Prabhupada said, this is business. This is not love. This is business. How much I can make profit here? In Krishna consciousness, no. This is what I need to do. Most devotees I know, I'm dealing with this all the time, they approach me, do you know some girl or do you know some boy? Yeah, I'm like that. Sometimes not planning for that, I get in a situation, because I travel around, I know lots of people. So, do you know somebody? Because they like to get it more arranged and more help, not relying simply on their own sensual perception, which is actually intelligent. Vedic times was a very serious business. There were so many people involved, counselors, and so many people were, helping. Therefore, this principle, no divorce, was quite easy to maintain, actually, because there was so much help from outside. Here in this society, the society is so destroyed, completely destroyed, that it's very risky. It's very difficult. No wonder it's difficult. Again, all based on the point that we think we are this body and we are designated. So Krishna consciousness, the ultimate reality, is based on the absence of any designations. Finished. And believe it or not, this illusion of designation can go with you even in Krishna consciousness. Now this is maybe a little bit too esoteric to mention here, but don't think Maya or illusion will stop when you dress like this. Don't think that Maya will stop immediately when you chant Hare Krishna. She will come with you. Prabhupada said Maya is a pure devotee. She is a very confidential servant of Krishna. She will come even to Krishna consciousness. And she will sit next to you and going, Hare Krishna, me also chanting. And then you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And Maya goes, well, it's nice, but why not Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. And forget the Ram. Something new. It's still holy name, but it's new. Exciting, isn't it? So Maya will try to modify and pervert what is already given. Therefore, we don't change things. There are certain things we don't change. But Maya will try to change, introduce this as Krishna consciousness, introduce that as Krishna consciousness. That's the reason we have to be very careful and very, Prabhupada left us these books, so we have to read them. And you find over and over established what is illusion, what not, what is right, what is not right, what should be conscious. If you carefully read Prabhupada's books, you will get all the warnings down there. And still, a devotee is very careful to verify his actions. Is this okay with this? We have Guru, that's a spiritual master. Then we have Shastra, the scripture. And then we have Sadhu, which is generally interpreted like other devotees, but it means predominantly our disciplic succession. We have teachers, and they don't change. They apply according to the time, place and circumstances, but no change in essence. Like I give you an example, we chant, when initiated, 16 rounds Hare Krishna mantra. Yeah? Yeah? This is nowhere mentioned in the scriptures. Nowhere you find 16 rounds of Hare Krishna chanting. 16 times 108. No. But the principle is mentioned. Numerical strength, the counting. This is mentioned. Now Prabhupada originally started with 64. That would be the standard coming from his spiritual master. But then he saw this hippies. 64, just imagine you chant 64 rounds Hare Krishna. I mean, they couldn't even finish because they couldn't do anything. They just Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said, okay. That doesn't work. Not with these people. So he cut it to 32. Yeah? And again, 32 rounds a day. So Prabhupada said, okay. Then he cut it once more. But he said, this is the limit. For that you should be able to do. But if you want more, why not? Sure, great. But that's like for initiated disciple. For new people, he said, try 1 round. 1. Which is actually quite difficult for a very new person already to do. But don't change it. If you are serious, do every day 1 round. And if you see it's easy, then go by 2 rounds. Slowly increase, like that. Practical. And when you feel comfortable with that, you do 3 rounds, increase. And then sooner or later you will find 16 rounds. That's 1 hour, 1.5 hour maximum. When you are really fast, 40 minutes. I know devotees who chant 40 minutes. But this is, the principle is hearing of the holy name. So this is principles which are not changing, but the application has to be seen according to time, place and circumstances. So therefore Prabhupada was very tolerant in the beginning. He was less and less tolerant at the end, because he saw they can take it. They are more serious. They can take it. So that's one has to be very discriminative when one is presenting Krishna consciousness. Let's see. The wonderful thing is that people come at all and become interested. That's really wonderful. Any little bit, even once they hear the holy name, any bit of Krishna consciousness is for their eternal benefit. It's wonderful. So that's the principle behind the whole thing. So I have to finish now. I'm overdoing it again. So thank you very much for hearing, and let's try to come to the ultimate reality of Krishna consciousness. It's a process. It doesn't go overnight, but it's a good way to spend one's lifetime, to try to come to the point of reality. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Thank you for a wonderful lecture, Prabhu, and we chant aloud for Prabhu today.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
You are leaving soon?
Yeah, I'm leaving by the beginning of May.
May, you coming back again?
Sooner or later, yeah, to Sweden I am coming back, but when exactly could be somewhere at the September, maybe.
We wish you, all of us,
Thank
nice
you.
traveling.
Thank you. Please, this is so wonderful in Malmö to have at least that. What you have. You may think, oh, it's just few of us coming together, maybe. There's more maybe out there on the internet. Please maintain this. This is you cannot imagine what an impact it has on the whole town. Just by having one place like this, it's actually influencing the whole town without people knowing it even. It's so important. I know even one devotee, one of my godbrothers, he said, I come on the airport, I go in a town, I know if there's a temple or not. In that town. Any town. I know, I feel it. There must be a temple here somewhere. There must be some place people come together and chant Hare Krishna. So it's so important. Okay. Yeah.